Shay.
And I'm Hannah, and we're Dinnernational.
Today we're cooking Indian food. I'll admit, I'm a little bit under pressure to get this perfectly right because it's the food of my people.
And we do eat a lot of Indian food, but the things that we're cooking today we really haven't made before, but we're really excited about it.
For Indian food, we decided to keep it completely vegetarian. So if you're interested in more vegetarian recipes, here you go. We'd be starting off with a Hara Bhara kebab and a Paneer Lababdar.
And I'm gonna try to make Paratha, and I hope that I make my mother-in-law proud. Hi, Mom. We'll see about that.
Let's get started.
India has all different kinds of breads to eat with their food, and depending on what you're eating, you're going to use a different kind of bread. But today we are going to do just paratha. So I have 2 cups of wheat flour in here, and make sure you have clean hands because it's really easier to use your hands to mix the dough. I'm going to put this in the big bowl here. I have 2 teaspoons of a neutral oil. This is just vegetable oil. Pour that in there. And here's some salt. I'll start with this, kind of stir it together. And then you're slowly gonna add the water until you get a dough that is going to be firm but soft. You can leave a fingerprint in it and it will stay. So this is lukewarm water and it's 1 cup, but I'm just gonna do it. I might even use less, we'll see. Okay, here's the hand going in. My mother-in-law is much faster at this. It's starting to come together a little bit. It's like a shaggy dough right now, but I'm just gonna keep squeezing, mixing all the dry flour. It smells really nice, actually. So our dough is starting to form into a nice ball. See, it's a little more cohesive now. I'm gonna add some more oil to it and cover this for about 30 minutes and it'll be ready to go in a little bit.
Let's make Paneer Lababdar. As you all know, Indian people like eating vegetarian food and they don't really consume a lot of meat. So one of the favorite things to eat is paneer, which is like a simple farmer's cottage cheese. So our dish today is this cottage cheese cut into little cubes, which is simmered in a very tasty, spicy sauce. But when I say spicy, it's not as spicy as many Indian foods and it's a relatively milder option. So let's make the sauce. My saucepan is heating at medium heat. I'm just gonna pour like about a tablespoon of oil. For this recipe, we are using a bunch of whole ingredients. What we have here is 1 teaspoon of cumin, 5 or 6 whole cloves, 3 pods of cardamom, say about 5 or 6 whole black peppercorns, about 1 inch of cinnamon, and 2 or 3 bay leaves. All of these things are just whole, and I'm just gonna fry these in the oil. I will let these spices fry for about a minute and then add 1.5 large onion. We have about 1 inch of ginger and 5 or 6 cloves of garlic and 2 green chilies. These green chilies are Thai green chilies and are spicy. So maybe if you don't like spice, make it a little bit milder, use a little bit less. And I'm using half a can of whole tomatoes. You can always use fresh ones. Fresh ones are actually encouraged. Looks like my spices are fried. So I'm going to add the onions in there. I'll cook it for about 5 minutes. This is a pretty standard base for very many North Indian dishes and it's delicious. As you can see, my onions are nice and brown. This looks like the perfect time to add my ginger, my garlic, my green chilies, and then I'm just gonna saute this for about 1 minute too. And as soon as I do that, I'm going to add the rest of the tomatoes in. Tomatoes, juice and everything goes in. So these are like whole canned tomatoes, so I'm just gonna kind of crush it loosely with my wooden spoon. Okay, I guess I'll see you in about 5 more minutes. So the tomatoes have been stewing for another 5 minutes and I'm gonna add some dried Kashmiri chilies. These are like a little bit milder than like a spicy chili. So I'm using 4.5, 5. Feel free to use less. And I have about 10 cashew nuts that have already been roasted. I mean, I just use the roasted kind that you can purchase. And I'm about to add like about a teaspoon of salt. This is about a cup of water. So that depends upon how much water you have in your dish. Feel free to add a little bit more or less till it's about like this consistency. It's kind of watery. Can you see? And I'm gonna let this go for another 10 minutes so this tomato sauce sucks in all the chili flavor. It doesn't look very pretty right now, but essentially I'm gonna blend this whole thing with an immersion blender and it'll look nice. See you in a bit. Our sauce has been going for about 10 minutes. It's looking nice. Most of the water has evaporated. I'm just gonna give this a little taste. I feel like it could use some salt. Adjust as you please. I'm just adding like about a pinch and a half of regular salt. And then I'm gonna let this cool completely before I blend it. And in the meantime, I'll go get started on the Hara Bhara kebab. So as you can see, I have let my sauce cool down and put a pot of water on a nice rolling boil, and we're gonna boil the potatoes. Just about 300 grams of potatoes. It is like one medium-sized potato. We just cut it into 4 pieces so that it would cook a little bit faster. And it's always recommended to add like a little bit of salt in there. So I'm just adding like about 1 teaspoon of salt, and I'll let those potatoes boil. And in the meantime, let's get the other ingredients started. So what I have over here is chickpea flour. In India, it's called besan. So this is like our binding agent over here. If you don't have it, it's totally fine. You can use some breadcrumbs instead. So exactly like if you were using breadcrumbs, I'm just gonna dry roast this. There is no oil or anything in that. I'm just gonna roast this a little bit for about 2 to 3 minutes. And once this thing is roasted, I will put this aside back into the same container and let it sit for a second. This is like an optional step, but otherwise it just gives this raw kind of chewy, gummy texture, and this will just kind of help. While this besan continues to toast, let me tell you a little bit more about this kebab. Most people, when they hear kebab, they think meat, but this is essentially more like a pan-fried patty, and hara means green, bhara means full of. So this is like full of green stuff. The stuff we're putting in here right now is some spinach, some green peas, and some cilantro, and these all go in together to make like a vegetable patty with the potato, and then we'll pan fry this. I'm just gonna take this off of the heat and show you how to do the other vegetables. So most of the besan is out of the frying pan, and I'm heating some vegetable oil in there, just a tiny amount, like about 2 tablespoons worth. And I'm going to first add the ginger, the garlic, and the green chili. I'm just gonna fry this for a second. As you can see, this is a fairly rough chop, but that's fine because this is also gonna get blended. So I'll let this fry for like about 1 minute and add the spinach in here. I'm just using frozen because I had that. Even if you're using fresh spinach, that should be fine, about half a bunch. What I have here is about 150 grams, and yeah, piece is about 1 cup of peas. You can always use ginger garlic paste, but the whole thing is fine too, because ultimately we are just going to blend the whole thing. Spinach is frying. I'll just saute this for like about 30 seconds and then add the peas. Just a dash of salt. And I'm gonna cook this till it turns into a mush. See you in about 5 minutes. This has been cooking for about 5 minutes. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garam masala. I'll just roast this real quick, just for about 10-15 seconds. And I'm going to take this pan off of the heat too. While our spinach and peas are cooling, let's blend the Lababdar sauce. I'm just using an immersion blender, but you can always use a food processor instead. We're just trying to make this already cooked sauce into a fine paste, which will be fried once again in the ghee. Look at that! Our sauce is extremely saucy. I look forward to eating this very much. While I have my blender out, I'm just gonna blend up this spinach and peas mixture. This is all the spinach and peas and ginger and garlic and chilies that we sauteed up. Now I'm gonna add half a cup of cilantro leaves. I'm gonna blend this as well. I gave this a little taste and it needs a little bit of salt. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a little bit more chili, so maybe I'll add some of that in the end, not right now. I've not added any water, but then I'm adding like juice of half a lemon. Then I'll finish blending this into a fine paste. I poked my potatoes with a fork and it went straight through, so now I know that they're boiled. I'm just gonna mash them, and potatoes require a lot of salt, so just taste a little bit. Definitely need some salt. So give these a quick mash and put our spinach and peas that we blended together. Do the same thing. Give it a nice mix. And if at any point you feel like this dough is starting to get too sticky and you cannot really work with that, that's what the besan or the breadcrumbs is for. So I'm just gonna add like a little bit. I'll just use half of that for now. Keep the rest for later and use as and when required. Our potatoes and spinach are thoroughly mixed. I'm just gonna add like a little bit of cayenne and we're ready to make little patties out of this. So as you can see, I've already made a couple, but then I'm just getting the potato and spinach mixture into like this size balls. And I just use the breadcrumbs and a besan mixture. It doesn't need to be both. I mean, you can just use like one, but I'm essentially just kind of pushing this in together and making it into like a little patty. It's extremely pliable, you guys, so it's very easy to work with. Like unlike meat or something, when you're making a meatball, it's a little bit harder, but this is like really easy. Make sure you have clean hands when you do that. You don't want to get sick. It's such a nice, pretty green color. I really like it. Vegetable patties are formed and coated in breadcrumbs and ready to rest. Now we'll go finish the paneer lababdar and then fry these up. So I'm heating up some ghee in a frying pan. And this is actually my second favorite smell in the world. First is bacon. I'm just gonna fry up some julienned ginger. I just cut it into like little batons or juliennes. I don't know what the correct term is. We're just gonna fry this in about 3 tablespoons of ghee. If you don't have ghee, just use butter. It won't be as good, but it'll be good enough. I'll just fry this for like about a minute. I'm just gonna pour the rest of this sauce that we made into the ghee. So like I said, this sauce is already cooked, but what this does is it just gives it like a real nice taste. This is bubbling really furiously, so I turned it on low a little bit. But what we have here is 500 grams of paneer. I'm just gonna crush up a little bit with my hands for some extra added texture. Drop the rest of the paneer in here, crush a little bit. You don't necessarily need to crush this. You can always do some grated paneer if you want, or you can just leave it whole. So I'll just give this a nice stir to coat all the paneer pieces in the nice tasty looking sauce. This thing smells amazing, you guys. I wish you could smell this. Our last step is to add some garam masala and kasuri methi. These are both taste and flavor enhancers. Kasuri methi is a dried Indian herb. You can skip it if you don't have, or if you don't mind changing it up a little bit, add some oregano or Italian seasoning. Sorry, Indian people. Alright, so our paneer is ready to go on the back burner. I'm just gonna cover it and garnish it with some cilantro leaves when we're ready to eat. Let's go ahead and make the kebabs. I'm getting hungry, so let's fry these Hara Bhara kebabs and eat. So this is just about 3 tablespoons of oil. I'm just lightly frying these. I'm just trying not to crowd the pan, but I think I can get like about 8 of my 10 patties in there. Have to be careful because these patties are a little bit delicate. They're not like very well formed like your beef patties. So I'm just gonna keep a close eye on it. Give it say about 2 to 3 minutes on each side and then give it a flip. So you just want to like get a nice sear at the bottom and then you're ready to eat it.
Alright, so this is the part that I've been least looking forward to because I don't think I'm very good at this yet. But I've already gotten a head start on these. I cut these into 8 equal sized pieces. They're about this size. There's many ways you can do this. You can make these in circles, you can make them in triangles or squares, but some of these are turning out a little amoeba shaped for me. Maybe next time they'll be more oval shaped. We'll work our way to a circle. But the idea for me right now is I'd like to make a circle. That's the goal. Okay, so put it in the middle of your floured cutting board or floured rolling board. Is there a name for this?
Chakla.
Okay, so I'm gonna make an oval, a flat oval shape with this initially. I'm gonna put some oil here because we're gonna fold this and create some flaky layers. And we're gonna fold this into thirds, like a little envelope. Now I'm gonna try to get it to be a circle. This is the hard part. It's not even close. See, this is more like a square. Kind of sad. Oh. I wish you could see my husband's face right now. He's like, what? Okay, shit. Oh. Look at this. It's like, what state is this shape like? Tennessee. I don't even know. I'm sorry. What is this? Can we do it? I mean, I'll just use the other one the other day. Right? Okay, so we're cooking the paratha and we have one on here. It's not a perfect circle. I'm going to take it right off. These usually look a lot better. I mean, we just have to hope for the best next time. Okay, so this is the one that did the best. Check this out. Pretty good. Put this in here. You're going to put it on and leave it for just about 10 seconds and you're going to flip it over. Okay, we're ready to flip this. Looking much better than the first one, but not better than the best one I've ever seen. This one seems to be a little bit fluffier than the last. Yeah, let's keep this up.
I'm super excited about this dish. So let's eat. I'm really hungry. So I'm gonna break up some paratha and scoop up some of the paneer with it. Wow.
One of these things is better than the other. The paneer is delicious. Very good.
Even the paratha is just not the perfect shape, but to be honest, it tastes perfect.
That's good news.
If making paratha seems to be a difficult sounding task for you, just use frozen parathas or just practice more. I'm gonna have a little piece of the Hara Bhara kebab. Have you tried that yet? I'm gonna dip it in some of the tamarind sauce.
Oh my gosh, that's really good. I've never had this. He was like, we should make this as the appetizer, and I thought, okay, I mean, why not? Let's try it. This is way better than I thought it would be.
I really enjoy kebabs with meat, but to be honest, I'm not missing meat right now.
This is like what's it called?
Like a falafel, isn't it?
Thank you. Yes, it's like a falafel. It's so good. Really delicate.
The potatoes are like nice and creamy, so is the spinach. It's a very nice flavor. So I'm gonna eat all of this and then some, and I encourage you to make some too. And if you want a chicken or lamb variety, you can make this Lababdar gravy and have chicken breast in it or like lamb. Bon appetit, guys.